Nervous little Prince George arrived for his first day at school this morning with only his father, Prince William, after his pregnant mother, the Duchess of Cambridge, found herself bed-bound due to acute morning sickness. The 4-year-old future king looked very smart in his new uniform, which included a blue official school jumper with red logo, blue Bermuda shorts and blue socks with laceless shoes. He was driven to £20,000 a year Thomas's Battersea, in southwest London, from Kensington Palace strapped into a child seat in the rear of the family Range Rover. William held his son's hand tightly as they approached the door. 30 years after his mother Diana did the same for him on his first day, George shook hands with Helen Haslam, head of the lower school, before the third in line to the throne, clutching his daddy's hand and hers, was shown to his new reception year classroom. His proud mother Kate, 35, had hoped to be there but was simply too poorly, as she is suffering from hyperemesis gravidarum, which can cause sufferers to vomit up to 50 times a day. The prince will be known as George Cambridge to his classmates, and while he is attending one of London's top schools, it is less formal than Wetherby Prep in Notting Hill, which was attended by his father and Uncle Harry. Kensington Palace were forced to announce the news that she and William were happily expecting their third child several weeks early on Monday after the Duchess fell ill and had to cancel a major public engagement. She would have done anything to be here, a source said. It's a big day in her son's life, but she really has been very sick. Today Kensington Palace confirmed the news Kate would have dreaded. A spokesman said, "Unfortunately, the Duchess of Cambridge remains unwell, and will not be able to accompany Prince George on his first day of school. The Duke of Cambridge will drop off Prince George this morning as planned." Kate has already said she is not sure her son has any idea what's going to hit him when he starts school, but he did not look upset to be without her today. George arrived in a Range Rover shortly before 8:50 am with his father. As a large crowd had gathered outside the school, the little prince was driven through a side entrance and a security gate closed behind them. Casually dressed William took off his glasses and got up to unbuckle his son from his child seat in the rear of the cars. He immediately took George's hand and walked towards a side door to the school where the head of the lower school, Helen Haslam, was waiting. The little prince was dressed smartly in the school's summer uniform of a blue pullover with the school logo on it, blue Bermuda shorts, shirt, blue socks and smart black polishable laceless shoes. Children have the choice of turning up in their summer or winter uniform at the start of the autumn term. The young royal looked incredibly nervous and stared at the floor, glancing up just once to look at the small pool of waiting media. The Duke told Ms. Haslam that George had been eagerly watching and noticed the other boys going into school in their uniforms. It is understood William and Kate will try to do the school run as often as possible. The prince, who is wearing a shirt, navy V-neck pullover, shorts and black shoes on his first day, is thought to be one of the youngest in his year. He is expected to have a gentle introduction to what is likely to be a tiring first term of school. Along with his classmates, he will spend the day getting to know teachers, adults and other children, as well as completing the important task of finding his classroom peg. A team of 6 police officers and several plainclothes police armed with tasers mingled in with the crowds, while several of Prince George's own security were also present. Some 560 classmates aged between 4 and 13 were escorted in by 8:35 am, and the front of the school was cleared for the future king's arrival. William held his son's backpack as they walked to meet the lower school head. The prince gently encouraged his son to shake hands, which he did perfectly, and told her that George had been excitedly noticing the other children in their school uniform on the way in. "Oh, look, you've got your backpack," Miss Harlem said encouragingly as she took George's other hand to walk in. William, like the other parents, stayed on as his son settled in his new classroom. Ben Thomas, who is principal of Thomas's London Day Schools and was headmaster of Thomas's Battersea for 18 years, said he hoped future King George would learn to be himself. He said, "The whole aim of these precious early years of education is to give children that confidence in who they are, so we are not going to try to mold him into any kind of particular person, and we wouldn't do that with any of our pupils. I hope he will have the confidence to be himself with all his quirks and his idiosyncrasies and characteristics." Thomas's Battersea is a family-run establishment situated in an old grammar school in a well-to-do area of London, nicknamed Nappy Valley because of the large number of affluent families that live there. He will be in a class of up to 22 children. July baby George will be one of the youngest, all of whom spend just half a day on their first day. The prince will be given his own coat peg with his name on and a desk. Most of this morning will be spent getting to know his new teacher and classmates as well as familiarizing himself with essentials such as where the toilets are. The class will also be taken out to the playground for break. The school places an emphasis on making parents feel secure about leaving their children, with a drinks reception, handbook, and workshops to show them what their reception year offspring are learning. Parents are also be invited to watch lessons and learn how to help their children with phonics at home. George and his peers will have been invited to a pre-term party to help them settle in. Thomas's has been described by the Good Schools Guide as a big, busy, slightly chaotic school for cosmopolitan parents who want their children to have the best English education money can buy. That is what they want and, to a large extent, that is what they get. Kate has already said she isn't sure her son has any idea what's going to hit him when he starts big school for the first time. In choosing Thomas's, the couple shunned traditional royal feeder schools as Wetherby, where William and his brother, Harry, went, in favor of something they felt offered their son a more village-wide atmosphere, reminiscent of the education that Kate and her siblings enjoyed. The school's new principal, Simon O'Malley, who was also present today, has been described as a silver fox by Society Bible, Tatler, and one of the 6 hottest headmasters in the country. The Duke of Cambridge left onlookers who had travelled the 160 miles disappointed that they didn't get a glimpse of Prince George on his first day at school. At 9:30 am, after arriving at around 8:45 am, Prince William drove a black Range Rover with tinted windows away from the school and smiled and waved at onlookers as he sped past. But many felt disheartened that the prince did not say hello to people who had lined the streets for over an hour. Rita and Tony Cresswell travelled 160 miles to see Prince George on his first day and were disappointed. Rita, 71, and her husband, 74, said, "We have come down from Matlock in Derbyshire and we thought it would be nice to see them whilst we were here. We had hoped that Kate would be here too. We are disappointed. It would have been nice. My granddaughter started preschool yesterday and I was hoping to get a photograph of George to show her that her prince had started. It is just a bit disappointing." What's in store on Prince George's first day at school? Each morning starts with a handshake. There's pie lentils for lunch and ballet is compulsory, but homework isn't. There's even a debating club for 5-year-olds. If mum and dad are running late, there are no fewer than 24 after-school clubs at Thomas's. And don't assume George will be merely molding plasticine or painting paper match models. George will have the chance to join a debating club. It's never too early to train for the Oxbridge Societies, study philosophy, learn Italian or try his hand at songwriting, fencing, golf or pottery. Ballet is compulsory, and always involves a live pianist, compulsory for girls and boys. Up to the age of 7, pupils are entered for the prestigious Royal Academy of Dance examination, also putting on ballet shows for family and friends. Battersea is the only one of the 4 Thomas's schools at which ballet lessons, always accompanied by a live pianist, are a set part of the curriculum, leaving observers questioning whether George has, perhaps, inherited his grandmother's passion for dance. Diana once famously trod the boards with diminutive ballet star Wayne Sleep. The school run is a nightmare. Privilege and wealth mean nothing to London traffic and Kate and William should be aware they face a nightmare hour-long round trip, should they wish to do the school run themselves. They are hands-on parents and, while, according to a source, acknowledge their presence in the playground might cause a bit of a buzz to start with, are hopeful, naively perhaps, to eventually blend in with the other less regal mums and dads. He'll be joined by his little sister, while an entirely non-controversial choice for most parents. In sending their child to a mixed-gender school, William and Kate are breaking with tradition for the royal family. Previous generations have favored single-sex schools. William and Harry attended Wetherby Boys Prep, but it means that Charlotte will be able to follow in George's footsteps in a couple of years' time, and will even be in the same house as her big brother, as is standard practice with siblings at Thomas's. Uniform from Peter Jones, of course. All items are available from that middle-class mecca, Peter Jones in Sloane Square, as well as a £36 jacket and a £25 jersey in navy. George will also wear navy Bermuda shorts, £23, even, it seems, when temperatures plummet during winter. There's a £10 red polo neck, £7 red socks and a pair of black polishable, laceless shoes. costing £34, a wise move to avoid teachers spending all day long readying them. He'll also carry a cute rucksack, bearing the school crest, which costs £13, while £7 gloves, hat and scarf, all navy, are optional. Kitting George out for the year is likely to cost the Cambridges around £580. There's a school ski chalet. The school owns Duchess ski chalet in the beautiful Wurzeln region of the Austrian Alps, bought 25 years ago by the Thomas family. It's where pupils are taken on trips in years 5 and 6. Some of the perhaps less well-off parents, coppering up for the £18,000 plus a year school fees, are understood to have found cause for complaint at being expected to pay for their children to go skiing while struggling to afford holidays for themselves. He may sit in Kara's seat. There has been a school in this Grade 2 listed building on Battersea High Street since 1700, when the former Sir Walter St John's Grammar, the alma mater of author Martin Amis, was established for the betterment of bright, ambitious boys. It became an independent school when it was bought by the Thomas family in 1990. The model Cara Delevingne and singer Florence Welch are among its recent alumni. Every day starts with a handshake. Never too early to teach good etiquette. The school day begins and ends with a firm handshake, plus good eye contact with the teacher. Highly important skills, of course, for youngsters destined to become leaders in their fields. There is also an expectation that pupils will be unfailingly courteous and polite, says the school website. Homework is optional. Despite its strong emphasis on academic success, unlike other schools, both state and independent, homework remains optional. Up until year 4, it will, therefore, be a few years before it starts eating into the Cambridge's precious family time. Rather than being overly pushy, parents are encouraged to allow their children to flop, relax and do nothing, and are even reminded by staff that like everything else in moderation, boredom is good, only bright sparks need apply. At the tender age of just 2 or 3, Thomas's hopefuls must take an entrance exam, which, as few are yet able to read and write with any proficiency, relies on natural intelligence, not exam preparation. Equally prestigious nearby prep schools don't put applicants through a selection process at this early stage. No doubt there have been plenty of would-be parents weeping into their mojitos after being rejected this year. The founder is a former actress, Joanna Thomas, 76, a former actress and a mother of 3, started the Thomas brand by setting up a kindergarten in Pimlico in 1971. 6 years later, her husband, one-time Gurkha officer, David, joined his wife in founding the first Thomas Independent Day School for older children, in Kensington. The ethos mirrored their own as parents, high academic aims, with a wide curriculum taught by energetic staff. There were accusations of nepotism when the couple's son, Ben, who had no teaching qualifications, was appointed head some years ago, beating 11 other candidates. Their other son, Tobin, was then director of administration for the 4 schools and just so happened to be on the selection panel. Both stepped down this month to make way for Simon O'Malley, with Ben speaking of studying for a teaching qualification in his spare time. Pupils dine like healthy kings. There's a strict emphasis on healthy food, with no additives or hydrogenated fats and limited in both salt and sugar. Hopefully, George has developed a more sophisticated palate than most 4-year-olds as the menu includes lamb ragu with garlic and herbs, smoked mackerel on a bed of pie lentils and pork stroganoff with red peppers. We recognize that a balanced diet stimulates the brain, improves concentration, helps the children to study and assists with memory, trumpets the school website. Sport is very competitive. The school puts a strong emphasis on physical activity, something understandably important to Kate, known for her sporting prowess in her youth. However, some parents are said to have objected to the policy of ranking each child in the annual cross-country run, right down to last and 200th, an approach that has since been dropped. But it has been noted by parents that staff are pretty upfront when it comes to imparting how their child is performing in relation to peers. So that's game on for the pushiest parents with children in the future King's class. It's rather expensive. Fees start at £5,868 per term, aged 4, and rise to £6,628 from the age of 7. Additional charges are made for after-school clubs, drama and music lessons, which could add up to a further £1,355 per term. There is also the option of a door-to-door school bus service, at a further cost of £605 a term, unless a team of security officers rides up front with him. It is, however, hard to imagine the heir to the throne taking advantage of this on his journeys to and from Kensington Palace. Kindness is a school rule. The highlight of each term is the school's Be Extra Kind Day, where pupils, from reception up, learn about human rights and those less well off in the world. The most important school rule is be kind, and the aim is for pupils to leave this school with a strong sense of social responsibility and to flourish as conscientious and caring citizens of the world. It's in Yummy Mummy Land, Nappy Valley, the name given to the family-centred area of southwest London where the school is located, is notorious for its slim, glamorous and ferociously competitive yummy mummies, many of whom have abandoned six-figure salaries to focus on their little Tabithas and Tarqueens. How many of them will be able to resist sidling up to Kate at pick-up time, hoping for a birthday party invitation, or, better still, an intimate playdate at Kensington Palace with a future king, for their little darlings?